Welcome to the Becoming a Wise Agent. So we just went from, recently from a webinar series to a podcast. So I'm really excited. This is our second episode. I'm excited to have Karen Coffey as my guest. Karen, welcome. Thanks so much for being here with us. And we're going to be talking today about how to stay motivated for the goals that you've set in 2023. And Karen, when I thought of this topic, you were the first person that came to mind. I'm like, she's going to be fabulous for this. I think
Thank you.
This is like totally, I see, like I can hear what you're going to say before you even say it. I mean, we did do a little prep call, but
yeah. Well, it's my passion. I love it. I don't know why. I am so just eat up with passion for agents being successful. I just can't stand it. I can't stand to see women and men. We always say a few good men faltering. So glad to be here.
Yes, I'm happy to have you. So welcome everyone. If you guys wouldn't mind posting in the chat what city, state, and brokerage you're with, and even how many years you've been in the business. I love seeing that, Karen. I'm sure you're going to appreciate this too, because
Absolutely.
you get to see like kind of what range of agents that we have and brokers that we're talking to. So that's always a fun thing. And I love seeing where everyone's located because that's always fun for me. I love to travel. We also have in the Q&A section on the bottom there for you to ask any questions, and our fabulous Sarah is going to be on moderating all the questions, so feel free to post that. So we've got some people from Savannah and Texas. It's all over the place. I can't even, it's going so quickly. I can't even read it. South Florida. So welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. This is, so it's January 4th. And, a lot of times everyone's, setting their goals. I don't know when everyone's setting their goals. Maybe that's something else that you guys want to post about is when you've set your goals, maybe you're still in the midst of setting your goals for 2023. But Karen, maybe you can tell us a little bit about why this makes you an expert in motivation and goal setting and all of that. And then we can jump into, what we're going to be talking about here, the meat of the topic today.
Right. Well, thank you. I mean, for those of you who don't know me, again, Karen Coffey, I own a company. I'm the CEO of a company called Karen Coffey Coaching. Wow, how creative. And it's called Making Agents Wealthy. We're not here to make you poverty stricken, worried about your next closing. We want to make you wealthy in many different ways in life, in business. And so it was the illustrious downturn in 2008, where I was in real estate and I was a single agent and I was, just doing my thing. And when the downturn came, we had no idea what was going to happen. And so I ended up being a homeless single mom. And I'm sure some of you were there during that time. And the struggles that we'd never seen anything like it. We didn't know how to handle business. And my son and I were living in the basements of friends because we weren't there to pivot. We didn't have the knowledge to pivot. And so after losing everything, and I mean everything, houses, cars, my marriage, my mother passed away, my son went to, it was terrible. It was just awful. If anything bad could happen, it could happen. Oh. And I did what any good agent would do. I got on my knees and I just said, I surrender. I give up. I don't know what to do next. And I was just sitting in my living room and I got like a step. I got one step. And I'm like, okay. So I did that one step and then I got another and then I got another. And within a period of 4 months, 100 days to be exact, I had made $100,000 in a brand new market, in a down market. And that's when I started documenting everything that I was doing and ended up coming from being a single homeless mom to 100K in 100 days, and then closing out the year just under 500,000 for the year. And that's where I got my beginnings. Now we coach other agents how to do that. And we have been on the Inc. 500 for the last 2 years of the fastest growing companies. And we've helped thousands of agents across North America. So that's why I am passionate about it, because I was in such pain and I see other agents struggling, and I don't ever want that to be their reality. So that's why I'm here, and I'm happy to share.
Yeah, we're grateful for that. And I'm happy that you were sharing that, because I think a lot of people can relate to that when sometimes when you're down on your luck and you're just kind of at the bottom and you don't know how to get back up, it can be really challenging. And then you can set, a lot of times, we set these goals, right? It doesn't matter if it's your business goals, your financial, personal goals in life, your goals in weight loss or whatever it is, right? All
Right.
of those goals, right?
Yeah.
All of these things in life, I mean, they take one thing, and no matter what that thing is that action, right? There's an action that makes that goal actually happen, that reality that you need. And that's what we're going to be talking about, is how do you get to that action step? You need to have some motivation in there.
Mhm.
Because that's sometimes that mindset is what controls everything in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we don't have the right mindset, but it's not enough to say, hey, I need a great mindset. For a lot of people, they'll say mindset is affirmations or positive thinking. It is so much more than that. It's a complete overhaul of our thinking and our perception of everything that's going on in life. So, yes, mindset is important. There are tools, though. I mean, there's tools that you guys can implement today to keep that motivation. Now, there's obviously you need a community. You need community. You need to have people that know how to hold you accountable. And it doesn't have to be us. I'm not saying it's us, but you need to hire the best coach you can. And I don't care if it's us. That's not what I'm here to say. But you need to get someone in your corner that knows how to coach you to your goals, not hold you back, but at the same time, give you that community that's going to keep you motivated. Another tool, do you mind if I just kind of go
Yeah,
into
no,
it,
go for it.
Alani? Great.
Go for it.
So
I'm going to take
another
notes.
tool that let's take notes, everybody. Get your pen and paper, get your coffee. Let's roll. So so you have this community. What I love what Tony Robbins always said. He said, you're either motivated by pain or pleasure. You're either motivated by the desire for something pleasurable in your life, or you are motivated to get away from the pain. He had numbers, and statistics are, they say half of them are made up on the spot, but his statistics were 90% of people are motivated to get away from pain. We can dream about the Gucci bags that match the Gucci shoes, and we can
Right.
dream about the condo. And sometimes those things are just not enough.
Yeah.
When we're sitting at our desk at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning or a Monday morning, and we're just like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't know where to go. I've done everything I know to do. I've done everything my brokers told me to do. I've done everything my productivity coach told me to do. And nothing's happening. What do I do? Sometimes it's the pain that will motivate us to move into action. So just recognize, what are you motivated by? A lot of people will say, well, I want that new car. I want this, but pain is what will motivate you. So I would just suggest that you would take a moment and say, what happens if I don't reach my goals? And if nothing's going to happen, nothing is what you're going to do. You have to come into a place of, what is the worst? What's going to happen? Am I going to be able to pay my son's college tuition? Am I going to be able to set up shop and help my husband? Do I want my family to be proud of me?
Yeah.
I don't want to sit at the Thanksgiving table and go, yeah, I didn't do so well this year. Or I don't want to look at my husband and him look at me and go, yeah, that's a nice hobby. No, that's painful to me. That's something I never wanted to have. Or maybe you're going to be like, wow, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm at the store and my credit card is declined. I'm up all night worrying. What is it for you? What is that pain?
Yeah.
But
And I think with that too, the best way, at least for, what I've seen in other successful, people doing when they do their goal setting, is when you have your goals kind of written out in front of you,
yeah,
and you look at them every single day.
every single
And
day.
throughout the day, that's something that you're looking at, is that you're looking. And I think there was a statistic that I read, I think it's something 85% of people that succeed in their goals, it's because that they're looking at their goal every single day.
Sure.
So it's not this goal that's just kind of this lofty dream that's kind of, you sit there and you daydream about it, that you've written it down, you have it, it's in front of you to keep you accountable and keep it, kind of just keep you motivated and keep you going. Like, this is what I need to achieve.
Yeah.
And there is no there's no other option than doing this, and failure can't happen. I think
Well,
that's,
right.
at least
Right.
that's how it is for me personally. Like, I don't even entertain that thought of failing.
No, it's not going to be a thought.
Yeah.
And that's your mindset around that.
Yeah.
There is a tool that we use, and it's called the one page. And
Mhm.
so it's not enough to me. There needs to be more to that. I need to look at that goal every day. So the one page is a sheet, 8 by 11, that you look at every single morning, and you take 15 minutes and you really just get into this place of, okay, get your head in the game. What am I committed to?
Yeah.
Goals are like wishes. Goals, if I wanted to lose 20 pounds, I would have lost 20 pounds by now. I have a goal. But if I'm committed, I'm going to lose that 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So in your goal setting, what are you committed to? And be honest, if you're not committed to doing 4 transactions a month, don't put it down.
Yeah.
There takes work behind that. There takes work behind doing 4 transactions. Easily done. Simple, not easy.
Yeah.
But after you put what you're committed to, then you want to go into what happens if I don't meet that goal? And every day you're looking at what happens if I don't reach that goal? Okay, there's 5, 7 things. What am I grateful for today? Moving your mindset into gratitude for what you do have is super important. So you have this goal, you're going into what happens if I don't reach it. Then the next, and I would write this down, going into gratitude. And then what is the one thing? Now, there's a couple other things on that sheet, and I won't go, we'll be here all day, but no, not really. But what is the one thing I can do today to reach my commitment? Be still, follow your gut, follow your intuition, whatever it is that is guiding you in your business, or you'll know exactly what you need to do if you have the right community around you. But this is important. Have those goals. You look at it every single day, because if you don't, like Alani said, you're going to struggle, and you've got to know what you're fighting for. So,
yeah. And I think Joe posted something, a goal is a dream with a deadline. I love that line.
Yeah.
You know, so it's something that you kind of dream about, because I know, and I know that some of you, you know, before you, or when you registered for this episode today, we asked you a question, like, you know, just to put one of your questions out there. And I saw this a few times, was I either moved to a new market and I'm starting over, or I'm a new agent. How do I get motivated? How do I get started on something? And I think those are, you know, and I know that you moved into a new market and had to restart that way. What advice would you give our audience that's listening right now that kind of can help them get motivated to take that first step?
Well, when you move into a new market, you don't know anybody, right? And so it kind of folds into Wise Agent. This is not a sales pitch for Wise Agent, but you need a database. And so you need to start building it. One of the things that I did immediately was I started visiting businesses, because there weren't enough individuals. Yes, I could go to a meetup and I could join different programs, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't going to take me to the level that I wanted to be at, because I wanted to be at that level where all my bills were paid off. I never filed bankruptcy. I paid all that debt off. And so going to like those strip malls that have all the little boutiques and restaurants and dry cleaners, and, you know, we know that there is a ton of business to be made by meeting those owners. And so I would go to every business and go, yeah, my name's Karen. I just moved here. I'm an agent with XYZ Realty. And listen, I'm having a get together here's a key point. I'm having a get together in a couple months. I would love to invite you and some of your employees if you would love to come. And they go, wow, when does somebody ever invite you to anything? You know, they just don't. So you go in, you invite them to something. Great. Can I send you an invitation? And so I would get their email addresses and build that database. And so that was the first thing that I did. And there were other things, but that is the main thing when you move into a new market. You can't be shy. You have to really just suit up and go out there and meet the people. Yeah. But you have to get their email addresses. Yeah,
definitely. And I think so kind of just because one of the questions is, you know, how does that connect to Wise Agent? Someone's asking. And I would say, you know, you could use our landing pages as an invitation for for this party that you're having or hosting, or even just to collect email addresses of people. I know, for me, I moved here 20 years ago this April, to Arizona from Chicago. And I didn't know a soul out here. I didn't know a single human being out here. And it's challenging, no matter what profession you're in, no matter what you're doing for a living. You want to make sure that you're connecting with other people. And it's hard to do as an adult. I think it's easier when you're a kid. It's easier to do because, you've got the playground, you got things set up for you, right? But when you're moving to a new market and you are not going into an office space, you're not going to this, and you just have no connections whatsoever, you have to put yourself out there and get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, right? I almost said that backwards. And so, for me, I had kids. So it was like I met other people through my kids and through my husband and his work. But so you can kind of attach yourself to something. I love what you did with these small businesses because, those inviting them to an event of anything, like I'm going to give you some kind of information. I know some people are asking, like, what kind of event are you inviting them to? It could be an informational thing, like here's a lender that's going to talk to you about rates, or I'm going to talk to you about the market, or I'm going to talk to you about whatever. I mean, it could even be I don't think they do Tupperware parties anymore, but there's all sorts of makeup parties and jewelry parties and clothing parties, that are out there that you can invite people to. But maybe Karen, you could tell us what you invited them to, when you were doing this, what kind of party were you inviting them to?
Well, when we were doing it, we would always have, we went big. So I noticed that one of the questions was, how long do you keep a lead that isn't responding? Or how do you handle the leads that aren't responding? So this is going to answer that, as well as what do you go into businesses. Before I answer that, I want to say it's really important that when you're walking into a business, or when you're walking in, you've got to come from the mindset of, I'm giving value. I am not here to sell them anything. And you're not. You are not there to sell them a house. You are not there to wrangle them into buying something from you. You are giving them value. Being on, like, I'm having a get together. We go big and we have like barbecues at the local park and under the pavilion. We have sponsors. We have this whole thing. If you have leads that aren't responding, you will be shocked and surprised at how many people will come to the party, but they will never respond to you because you're not a real human being. You're an online digital presence. And so when they come to your get together, whatever that might be, that is where you're going to make those personal connections. We have clients that have never spoken with people and they show up to that party. The people that they have spoken to, we get about 10 closings out of one event. And so this is just one thing. That's not our thing. Like in totality, we have several things that you want to do in this market that we're having right now. You can't leave anything unturned, any stone unturned. But just having something that, you want to come from value. You want to invite them to an event that doesn't cost them anything, and just always giving value and being presence.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, and that's, and I want to share my screen here. And for those that are just listening in, we're going to post this in the screen sharing portion. This is going to be in the replay, so you guys can watch this when you have a moment. But I wanted to share my screen about our goal tracker, because we talked a little bit about, successful people that are successful in reaching their goals are viewing, and seeing their goals every single day. So our goal tracker can be found under the home menu when you log into your Wise Agent account, and this is we have kind of the annual goal, which is more like that big, your financial goals, right? What do you want your annual sales, or the number of homes that you want to sell? And then there's the short-term goals that help you achieve these, right? There has to be, it is a trade-off in our opinion, at least here when we created this. It's in order to get to the 5 million gross annual sales, that's the example in here, you have to go and you have to have some open houses, you have to stop by and build relationships, you have to attend some maybe trade shows. That's a good one in there, because like Karen said earlier, right, build that community, have somebody maybe outside of your market that that you met at one of the industry expos, right? Or at the industry conferences like NAR has a couple every year, your state associations, and you meet other agents maybe from across the state or across the country that will help you hold you accountable. I mean, I think that's always a great thing, because so you can have all these short-term goals here, and you can just say, as soon as you achieve one of those goals, you can just kind of track it here and see what you're doing. And so every time you log into your account, you would be able to see this and visualize, like, I'm getting there. I'm working towards, achieving the goals that I need. And when you sell a home, this is our goal tracker. The financial side of the goal tracker is connected to our commission report. So then when you go and add your commission, it kind of updates this annual goal tracker and kind of increases, so you can see what you're doing and where you're progressing. That's always a good thing. So in the beginning of the year, maybe you're at the 5-10% mark, and hopefully by the middle of the year, you're at the 50% mark as far as what your goals are. And you keep kind of progressing to see if you're on track and on trend with what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. So that's how our goal tracker works. I wanted everyone to see that. I think, Karen, I wanted to hear from you, like, when, so you have, maybe some people have some of these goals and some of the short-term goals in here. What do you think they do when they come in, and maybe it's, January 30th, and it's kind of near the end of the month, and they're like, ooh, I really haven't done half the things that I was supposed to be doing, and I've got like another day, and time is ticking here for the month. What do you recommend they do when they're just kind of losing that motivation, and what do they have to, and losing that time, right? There's the clock there.
So first of all, recognize that day, that last day of the month, is indicative of many months that are to come. If you don't take control immediately of your situation, you're not a victim of this market. First of all, let me just say, you're not a victim. You just need to reach out and get accountability immediately. And so that can be through coaching. It can be through, I'm going to watch my words here. Choose someone that is successful, that has a track record of selling real estate, not a track record in marketing or a track record in, it's in selling real estate. Get that account. Surround yourself by community that is high thinking, that is high level. Because what is that book, Alani, that was the 5 people that you hang around, the 5 people that you surround yourself.
Some of the 5 people that you,
you are the sum total. And so making sure that as you look around, it doesn't mean that your family and all your friends have to be super high achievers, but go out and find those high achievers that know what you're trying to accomplish. Because that last day of the month, you can't just magically make everything happen. It's a 90-day cycle. You guys know this. Sales is a 90-day cycle. What you do today shows up 90 days from now. And so when the market was super hot, what you did today showed up on Saturday. But now we're not in that cycle. This is a different market. So if I could say one thing, having learned from what I didn't do, because I sat back and I said, I'm just going to wait this market out. I'm going to wait it out, because this has got to be like a short-term thing, right? We don't know what this market is today. But we do know that we have to move into action. We have to make sure that we're doing everything that we can do. And there's systems for that.
Definitely. I love that. And what you were saying about, finding the person that has done that, is successful in whatever it is that you want to achieve. Right. So in whatever it is that you do, if it's, I know I've been seeing a lot of people on Facebook have been posting like, oh, so my goal is to read a book a week. Well, and I'm like, oh, I want to be that person, but I can't. There's just no way. I just don't have the time for it. Right. But really, if the 5 people that I hang out with the most are also on that same track, I will also make time and find time for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that's something I do that in my personal life, and here, in the office, we have a gym down the road that we all you know, have a privilege to go to, right, here at Wise Agent. And a lot of us go, there's a few of us that go we're 5 a.m.ers, right? I'm 5:30, but but it's like really because we're in here 40 hours a week together. And when the one person is talking about how, oh, it's going to be hard waking up tomorrow morning, well, and the other person says, no, I got you, you can do it, come on, just meet me and we'll work
we'll do
out
it together.
or whatever it is, you find energy in that. And
Yeah,
so the same thing
absolutely.
in the real estate business is you find energy from somebody else that you see that's achieving or, you know, on that same trend that you want to be on. You look at
Yeah.
them and not to mimic, but to gain energy from them. Because sometimes our tanks are empty.
Yeah. I
They
mean, you look
burn
at
out.
sports, Alani. I mean, every coach out there, every team out there has a coach. Every
Yeah.
team, if you want high level success, you're going to get a coach. You're not going to be sitting in mediocrity and going, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what to do. I just don't do it. Bull crap.
Yeah.
You won't do it. You won't do it. You've got to have someone there that's
Yeah.
leading you, pulling you, pushing you, telling you exactly what you need to do, when, how, how to hold your mouth. We have this joke that we just tell everybody exactly what to do and when, and there's no room for error that way, you
Yeah.
know? So, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Give
finding
me-
that energy from somebody is always a great way, keeping your goals in front of you, building that sense of community, having that, you know, because the person that is going to help you, your coach,
Mhm.
should be somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
I mean, that should definitely be something that really is someone that has your best interest at heart and is going to want to see you succeed and celebrate your successes alongside with you. I think
Yeah,
that's
that
like the
track record,
best.
right? That
Yeah,
track
yeah.
record.
And the track record too. I mean, that's definitely something. You know, one of the questions that I saw a lot of is what's a daily routine to grow your business? And I know
Yeah.
you had mentioned like, you know, having a party and, you know, having some kind of an event, and that,
Yeah.
you know, that can happen. That can't happen every single day.
No, not at all.
You
Like
know, I
once
would love to go to a party every day, but that's not always possible, right?
not realistic, maybe.
Yeah. So like what's something, you know, what are some of the things that you think should be included in a daily routine?
You know, my grandfather was a farmer, and he told me, Karen, he said, you need discipline. And I'm just like the least disciplined person in the world, right? And when you talk about what do I need to do? What do I need to time manage? What do I need to time block? I saw some questions about that.
Yeah.
And first of all, you have to have a schedule. And you didn't get into real estate to have handcuffs on. I get it. You want freedom, you want financial freedom, you want time freedom. But I'll tell you, the best way is to take control of your mornings. That is, I always say, if you're not paying my mortgage, you don't get my mornings. Seriously. If an inspector calls and says, well, you know, the only time I have is at 10 a.m. I'm sorry, unless you're paying my mortgage, yeah, I'm not giving you my morning. I have things to do. I have a company to run. And so when we are a business owner and a CEO, is there any CEO that kind of rambles into the office at 11 o'clock? No, he's got a company to run. He has people depending on him, livelihood. So think of yourself as the same way. But there's something we have called the $1 Million Day Schedule. And it is what our agents are not everybody. Some of our agents' goals are $1 million for the year. Now, for new agents, it's about 150. 150, we see it all day long, every day, all the time. It's like clockwork. So new agents, 150. Your more seasoned agents, they have that $1 million a year goal. You may be somewhere in between, but it's $1 million day schedule. And if I can do this schedule every single day, and it may be repetitious boredom, Monday through Thursday, because I do give people Friday to do whatever the heck you want. Get a Starbucks, go meet with people, go have fun. I don't care. But that $1 million day schedule, it includes your mindset, includes your prayer or meditation time. I mean, come on, guys, this is life. Life is not just business. You have to put those things in there. And then you have to know what your MGAs are. We call them MGAs, money generating activities. And it's spelled out. There's no question. These are the things that I have to do before 11 o'clock. After 11 o'clock, answer your emails. There's no real estate emergency that you can't handle before noon from 11 to 12 and people are okay with. So there is absolutely a schedule. And then your appointments are in the afternoon. And that includes for ladies, your hair appointment, your nail appointment, your massage appointment,
Yeah.
always the afternoon if you don't have listing appointments.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And some of those things in your, you know, I would love to hear what your daily routine is. But also I think kind of my opinion on it would be going through and writing up your marketing emails, right? What are the emails that are going to help you generate some things, right? Create your drip campaigns, taking some time, because that does take some thought, that does take some time, right? To think of what you want to say, think of your audience. You know, I'm big on time blocking. I mean, I can't, I schedule myself. I have every Monday mornings, what you were saying about blocking, you know, if you don't pay my mortgage, you don't get my morning.
Right.
Every Monday morning, my time is blocked for an hour and a half when you know, when I get into the office, where I need that time. I need to get my work done, right? I need my stuff to get done, right? And then I also take days off, like working days off.
Yeah.
Where like last week I worked all week, but I had no appointments. I'm like, nope, no one gets on my calendar.
This is the 1 week.
This is the 1 week. This is my time. I need time to catch up on things. I need to finalize things. I need that time. So I think it's, you know, I've said this to a few people. It's okay to sometimes be selfish with your time and not give it away to everyone, because there's things that you need to do. And one of those, you know, some of those things are writing up your marketing emails, your drip campaigns, figuring out segmenting your audience, like figuring out who should you be sending that email to. That's a really important task that a lot of agents that I see that are kind of struggling sometimes, they don't know who their audience is.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need to know who you're writing those emails to, who you're speaking to. Paint that picture of that one person, that one family, that one couple, and, you know, whoever that is, and write to them. And I think that's something that's really important to be done.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things that we do is we write all those things for our clients. We write them because you got into real estate because you love people, you love to sell homes. You may not be a great writer, and chances are you're not really a marketer either. So we write all that stuff for you. But depending on the level and where you are in your business is how you're going to spend that morning. Like for me, my average day is very different from when I was in production, and because I run several teams. And so if you're a team owner, you're focusing on recruiting. And I hate the word recruiting because kind of like our lead generation, we never chase clients. We always attract. It's the same way with agents. We're always attracting clients, because if I have value, people are going to pick up what I'm laying down. It's when I come from that sales mindset of chasing and chasing and chasing, people are running as fast as they can to get away from us. And so as we teach, it's all about lead attraction, client attraction. So in that morning, there's 12 different things that we stack one upon another, depending on where you are in your business. If you're brand new agent, if you're seasoned, if you're team owner, that you're going to focus on. So, but
And then relationship building, I think that's a really important one, as I don't think enough agents pick up the phone to call and just reach out to people that, I mean, you should have you should work on your database. And part of some of the things that I hear a lot of people talking about is, oh, you know, I don't know where my next, sale is going to come from, my next transaction. And it's okay. So do you have people in your database? Do you have things in your database that will tell you who this person is, where you would be able to really look through it and see, okay, who should I be calling? And what I mean by that is talking, looking through your database and seeing, because you can search in your database through Wise Agent to see, does somebody that I know, are they empty nesters? And you can put them in a category of like empty nesters, and have these people, and what size home do they have now? And where are their children at right now? Are they coming, are they coming back home from college? Are they, on the cusp of being empty nesters, right? So all of these things that you can, are they, is your database full of, maybe single people? And your database might have a whole hodgepodge mix of every type of classification. And that's fine. But then separate them out with categories where you would see these are all, these are unmarried, maybe potential, new home buyers, right? They're renters currently renting, or these, this is the married couple with, the kids that are teenagers that might be empty nesters soon, that you could reach out to and continue to build that relationship to say, hey, it looks like your last kid is graduating college or graduating high school. What are the next steps? And just being a human with them and not saying like, so you're looking to sell and downsize or whatever, cash out, right?
Who
Right.
do you know who wants to buy, sell, or invest?
Right. So
How
be a
many
human,
years have we heard
right?
that?
Yeah, be a decent human being about it, and just come at it from the perspective of that you want to, you care and you want to know what's happening, and be thoughtful. I think that's kind of some of the things that you should be doing, is kind of exploring your database to see who should be on your list and where do they go, and setting up your call list, setting up things for you to take those action steps.
So I'm going to give some suggestions here, because you've got a full database, people, guys, you got, and you never, ever, ever want to be thinking, where's my next deal coming from? Ever. You need to be doing things consistently. I always say consistent action equals consistent income. And you do things consistently, and it just spits out the result every month. It doesn't have to be difficult, but here's my suggestion. I'm not going to tell you what these are, but you need to be communicating to your database, your full entire database, twice a week. And it needs to be in a way that is important to them. I don't want to see another turn your clocks back, bump your clocks forward. I mean, if that's you, fine. I want you to start telling people what the hell you do. Oh, that's a cuss word. I'm sorry. I should. The heck you do.
Karen said, I don't think I
tell the joke.
But yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, okay, I have a really hard rule, but I'm like, oh, it should never be a problem. I'm like, no swearing. Please don't swear. I don't like
say bad words.
It's okay.
So I said that, I was like, oh crap, that was a bad word.
That's okay. That's okay.
But it's passionate. It's a passionate word.
It is.
No, you don't want people guessing what the heck you're doing. They need to know what you're doing, that you're in this market, that you're selling properties, that this is what's happening. You're educating, you're off market property, whatever it is. You get an email every day from Bed Bath & Beyond. No joke. Bed Bath & Beyond, you get one every single day. Twice a week is not a bad deal. And the thing is, we, have them written for you, just send them out and let people see that there is a result in what's important to them. And then they're going to start reaching out to you, because there's no question what you. So anyway, that was my one tip.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love, so there was a question about how do you set up the call list. I had mentioned the call list. I'm going to share my screen here one more time, because I think this is a really important feature. I love our call list. And so what you do is with a call list is this is where anytime you're making, because you should be making phone calls, right? Building those relationships, kind of how Karen was talking about, she walked into small businesses. Sometimes maybe you don't want to walk into a small business. You just want to call somebody, or, call a potential client, or call a vendor, call somebody. You're building relationships. The phone call is important. So you add them to your call list. So you can come in here and put in somebody's name and add them to the call list. And then once you're on this call list, it's time to make that phone call. You click on this little green button, and we have integrations with the dialers that you can do all that stuff. But what's nice is right here, I see a summary of who I'm calling. I even see their picture, right? So I know what Michael looks like. I can call him. I can use the click to call, or I can text him, right? I can just pop this up and send a quick text. Maybe he didn't answer. So now I'm like, I always follow up a phone call with a voicemail, and then the voicemail with a text message, and then a text message with an email, because I don't know, maybe I don't know this person. I don't know how they communicate. And so I put that in there. So then I've touched all my bases, and now they'll reach out to me. And whichever way they reach out to me, then I'm like, oh, they're a text. If they reach out to me via text, okay, they're a texter. So I'll just go straight to the text next time. I don't have to do all three every single time. But the first one, I do all three. And then I kind of go on from there. So now I can come in here and start, what happened when this lead came in, or what the last time I talked to this client, what was all that conversation about? And then I put in, what I'm going to, what we said. So I put in all my notes, and then I put my follow-up in here. So now the next time I talk to Michael, because he's telling me he's running out of space, he's working out of his garage, and he needs an actual gym. And I do follow Michael Phelps on Instagram, and I see that he works out in his garage. So, so now I need to call him. He's like, hey, yeah, you know what? We're going to be out of town until this date. So call me at this time. And now I can come in here and say, okay, I'm going to, have some homes to show him on this date. And so then I want to put in my reason in here and then set this up. And then I complete this call. It removes them from my call list here, right? And then it adds, and then the next person on my call list comes up automatically. And so this is, some people call this dialing for dollars, whatever you want to call this, right? But what happens is it happens automatically and really quickly. And so you could even implement our dialer and make that happen, make those phone calls happen even faster, because those shaving off those seconds sometimes when you're making hundreds of phone calls a day really does, make a difference.
Absolutely.
So then you can keep going on. But the beauty of this is that we tell you that to set up the follow-up here. The follow-up is something that's so important. We put it on the very first thing that you do is put in your follow-up. So it reminds you when you're on the phone with them and you say, okay, all right, well, thanks for talking today. Good luck with whatever the cat and whatever you're doing. And then you just say, before you say bye, it's like, oh, I need to fill in. When am I going to call him again? Hey, so Vince, is it okay if I call you in a few weeks to check in again? And that's it. And then you set that up. So that's how the call list works. And I think that's a really good practice to have. It keeps all your notes in order. It keeps you accountable, right? It keeps you, so every single day you come in here and you see all the calls that you need to make.
Awesome.
So I wanted to show that because I know that was something. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we do is we scrub every platform that we use, and we don't tell someone, I mean, they're all great. I'm not gonna, but I think that for agents to have success, you need to have, I saw some questions in there that said, what's the difference between this and that? And, over this company and whatever. To have something that is so real estate specific, that is there to help in your success in every way possible. And that's why, we do recommend Wise Agent. We don't recommend any others. And I just think, not that they're not good, but sometimes you're going from good to best. So yeah.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you for that. And, and I think because we've been doing this, is we just entered in our 21st year here at Wise Agents. So, and this is something where we, I know you talked about in your coaching, you guys have content for you, as do we. We have some of the content in here for you as well, because that is, like you said, sometimes you don't know how to get started, or you don't know what to say. So we kind of help you with that jumping off point, because building a relationship sometimes can be a challenge if you're lead generating, right? From, you're buying leads from one of the portals or whatever it is. It's hard to kind of make that connection with somebody. So we help you with some of those things. And Sarah's posting in here in our chat some of the areas where we have we have drip campaigns, letters, text messages for you. So if you're texting somebody and you're like, I don't know what to say, well, we got you covered in some of those things. So that's, a lot of that is really useful and beneficial to kind of help you with that motivation. We try and help you as much as we can. I know one of the questions we were getting here is, okay, so if I'm committed to using a CRM this year, I just need some help. Where do I go to get your help? And that's the other beauty about Wise Agent, is that we offer that 24/7 support for you. So it doesn't matter if it's Christmas Day or New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, whatever it was, we have someone on staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for just to help you. And so that is a really powerful thing that will also help you stay motivated, because we don't want you feeling frustrated because what's happening in the market and and that spills over into the technology. We don't want our technology to make you feel flustered or frustrated. So that 24/7 support is definitely something that you can lean on to get motivated and to keep on track with things.
Great. I know that Adriana, I believe it is, said, when do you trash a lead from your CRM? So I have a very strong opinion about this. Can I answer
Mm,
that?
I'd love to hear yeah,
Yes, because everyone's like, oh, if you haven't heard, I hear a lot of trainers say, if you
yeah.
haven't heard from a lead, if you haven't done this, if they don't respond, just clean out, clean out, clean out. I'm going to give you guys something really simple. If they have a pulse and an email address, you keep them in your database. Now, if they're bouncing and they unsubscribe, or it's no longer a working email, yeah, get it out of your system. But if they have a pulse and an email address, keep it in your system, because remember, one day, and we see it happen every week, one day someone's going to emerge and go, I've been following you for 5 years.
Hmm.
I used my best friend to try and sell my house. That didn't work. And I realized when I got your second email this week that I need to reach out to you. So I'm just, do what you want, but I'm just telling you, don't trash leads.
Yeah. And I would say go one step further and say, even if they unsubscribe, because I mean, we see it here. We see it from our support staff for there. Because I personally don't delete anyone from my database. They
No.
just never get deleted. And it's even if they unsubscribe or whatever they do, if they unsubscribe, we will not allow you, like our technology will not allow you to send an email. Right. So you don't even have to worry about that. So they won't even come up on your list of who to send an email to.
Yeah.
Now, and that goes the same is true for the texting. If they unsubscribe from the texting, then they, we prevent you from that happening. And I've had people ask like, hey, somebody unsubscribed and now they're wanting to resubscribe because they're wanting to see my newsletters, they're wanting to see my whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, just send me an email from them asking to be reinstated. I think I saw that question Leanne asked, how can I reinstate someone that unsubscribed? So they can come back, just send us an email, like forward an email from them saying, hey, let me back in or whatever into your list. And we'll have that happen. Because I think that deleting that record, it deletes the whole record, their whole existence. And that's not something that should be taken really lightly, because maybe you've talked to them once or twice, maybe you've even had just one conversation, they gave you one piece of information that can be kind of valuable later on down the road. And it might be something like, gosh, man, I wish I had that because that would have helped me, because they came back, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I always tell people, don't ever delete them. We don't charge you anything extra to have, there's unlimited storage. So that's not going to be a problem for you. So yeah. And I see this question about MailChimp and sending out an email. So with MailChimp, if they do unsubscribe from MailChimp, you will not be able to reinstate them. So that's kind of the drawback of MailChimp and Constant Contact. If they unsubscribe from that, they cannot resubscribe. So that's kind of the only caveat with their platforms, where with us, there is a little bit of wiggle room. We answer our phone calls here. So that's kind of a distinguishing factor there. Yeah. So one of the other questions that I keep seeing is, goal setting for part-time realtors. That was one that I kept seeing over and over again. Is that something that you can kind of talk to, and maybe what could they do if they're part-time?
Man, I love this question. Tim Ferriss wrote that book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Mm-hmm. And after I read that book, I was like, I need to create a 4-hour real estate work week, because people who have a full-time job really struggle. How do I balance? And so they're surrounded by a community that says, hey, if you're part-time, you can't do this. We just had a girl, her name is Brandy, and she has a full-time job. She made $150,000 from nothing last year. It was her first year in, $150,000. We have another gentleman that joined our program. He was a full-time engineer. He already had $150,000 income, and he is now he made 600,000. And he just joined us this year. So he quit his full-time job, and his wife is just thrilled. And so, so in order, I say that to give part-time agents vision of what's possible, not whether you want to do that or not, but that this is something that can absolutely transform and change your life. Many of you are punching a time clock and sitting at a desk and going, oh my God, if I have to do this one more day, I'm just going to melt. And again, I stand with every agent that's ever struggled financially. You're worrying, you don't want to have that job. That's no fun. So as far as goal setting for part-time agents, yes, you have to be very, very specific in those 4 hours. And I say 4, it's probably more like 10. But if
Yeah.
you only had 4 hours, there's just certain things you have to do in those 4 hours every week. And there's a lot of leverage involved too that doesn't cost you any money. But that's super easy to do. So if you're a new agent, I noticed that one of the questions, Alani, was how much money can I expect to make as a part-time agent? Don't set your sight too low. Don't be going in there for we don't work with anybody that wants to make less than 50. I mean, 50, usually 100K is usually the limit. But you want to be setting your sights high so that everything that you do is in alignment with that goal. If you set it for 30,000, everything you're going to do is going to align with $30,000 a year in your part-time real estate business.
And then you're limiting yourself.
Yeah, you really are. You're limiting yourself. So align everything in your life with that 100K. This is not about spending every hour that you have working. It includes boundaries. You had said earlier about, you're just working and working and working. You have to have boundaries too. And boundaries will actually make you more money than will repel. It will actually attract more money to you if you have boundaries. So boundaries with clients, boundaries with your office, and spending that time with your family or with yourself and self-care. So that's a whole nother topic, but anyway.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is, because that's something, I mean, I can attest to that. I know I've set boundaries where it's, this is my family time. It cannot, things can't seep into this. Because you need to have that time where you regroup and you refresh. I think that's a big part of staying motivated is when you do set those boundaries, because as an agent, you're not punching the clock, right? So you're not punching in and out, and you're not, you're probably working from home. And you're, so it's kind of like home is your office and your office is your home.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to see because those lines become blurred. And it's like, well, while I'm doing this, while I'm throwing in the load of wash, or while I'm vacuuming, I can just still do this and I can still do that. And then you're running yourself ragged, and you're just,
you got no money.
Yeah.
And money is not the most important thing, but it touches everything that is.
Yeah.
It touches our children, it touches our relationships, and it touches our legacy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because then there's, you want to you want to keep your focus on where, kind of what you were saying about that, your Monday, your morning hours, that where if it's not paying your mortgage, you're not giving that time up. Yeah. If you're setting your focus on the things that are going to help you achieve, your goals, then that's a problem. It's not aligned. And so having all of those things set in place, I think, are really, really important. Yeah.
What to say no to, what to say yes to. This industry, gosh, when was the National Association of Realtors, I think, was formed in 1907. It's somewhere around there. They based their sales tactics off of the Fuller Brush Company, founded in 1904. What was the Fuller Brush Company? They were door-to-door salespeople. And it was all about, hey, this is what we have. These are our wares. This is what, I'm not saying door knocking doesn't work. If that's your jam, do it. Yeah. But I'm never going to go out in 80-degree heat and heels. I'm never going to go out there knocking on a door. That's number one. It's not safe for me as a woman. Yeah. Number two, not my thing. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I never suffered financially because I didn't do that, and there's a lot smarter ways. So anyway.
And I love that. I think, figuring out, we talked a little bit about segmenting your audience and like who you're sending your message to. I think that's really important, and how you send it, because it should be a way that you're not dreading it. So if you're dreading to like make those, go and knock on somebody's doors, or you're dreading the phone call, if you're dreading the phone call, then I think there's more limited options there, right? But if you have to, you have to do at least whatever you're doing, it should be something that you're happy to do.
Yes.
If you go into it with, this is going to suck, 100% it's going to suck. 100%. I travel a lot, and I travel with a team, and I always tell anyone that is new traveling with me, I'm like, listen, the travel, everyone thinks it's so fabulous. I go to these great cities, but it's a lot of work. It's, you know, you're sitting at the airport, your flight might get delayed, especially recently, like for sure your flight's gonna get delayed, right? All this stuff, things can go wrong. If you go into anything that you go into, if you go into it with a bad attitude, it's nothing good is gonna come of it. It's gonna be bad. So if you go into it like, you know what? Like I've gotten delayed like a whole entire day in a city that I was not planning on being at. And I'm like, well, let's just make the best of this. I mean, let's go do a double-decker tour of Philly and let's see what Philly's all about. I'd never seen Philly. I did a double-decker tour bus of Philly. It was an unplanned thing. My flight wasn't going to be until later on the next, that next day. I made the best of it. And you know what? It wasn't a bad trip. It was fine. But if you go in it and you're pouting and you're like, this sucks, yeah, it's going to suck.
Yeah. The one thing I saw where somebody asked about the cold calling, because we did talk about the door knocking, and I'm never going to go out there and someone said, yeah, me neither. And someone said, do you think cold calling is necessary? That was the word. Do you think no, I don't. I am not into cold calling. I'm never going to call somebody and go, hey, you don't know me, but my name is Karen Coffey. I'm with XYZ Realty. Yeah. And, who do you want to buy, sell, and invest? Again, cold calling does work if that's your thing. Yeah. The first cold call I made, because I was a big Mike Ferry agent. Not big Mike Ferry. I'm sorry. I followed Mike Ferry at the time. And they were like, cold call. And I'm like, all right, cool. And for me, I was nervous. My hands were sweating. I didn't know how to talk. And the guy said a bad word. The first thing he said was like, yeah, the F word, and hung up on me. I cried. This is how immature I was as a business person. I cried and I said, I will never do this again. I will find a way to do this business, and it will not be with cold calling. Now, does that mean you don't call people? Absolutely you do, but it's a warm call. It's a warm call. You have value for something that they've already raised their hand and said that you want. And you have to believe that you have that value. If you don't believe that you have value in this industry or that you're good at what you're doing, number one, let me tell you, you do. You know more than anybody out there. You just need to educate them on what it is that you do know how to do. So anyway, I
love that. I love what you said, because that's completely true. And even when you were talking about when you're on the phone and having your tone, if your tone comes across as confident and then in what you're saying, then they're going to believe you. If you come across kind of wishy-washy in what you're saying, they're not going to believe you, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, thanks. And then they're going to click and answer the next realtor that calls them. Exactly. So if you show that confidence, if you have that confidence, they will believe everything that you're saying, and it should be true, right? Yeah. And it should be true. Should be true. And
I love it.
And like, don't say like, oh yeah, we in this market today, we could sell your house by tomorrow at 3 o'clock. You'll have an offer.
Well, you can if you listen for
you can, but it should be true, right? Right. And then have that confidence in your voice should have that confidence. It should kind of come through. And that's when you have that credibility kind of comes up, and that's when people are believing you. When they believe in you, then they're going to do business with you. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. So build up that tone.
I won so many listing appointments with this one phrase, because people will ask you, well, I'm interviewing 2 other agents or whatever it is, and why should I choose you? And here's what you want to say. The reason you want to choose me is because there's nobody better. There's nobody that's going to market your home like I do. There's nobody that's going to negotiate for you like I do. You'd be crazy not to hire me. And they would be like, and I'd say, so you can go ahead and interview them. I don't have a problem with that at all, because I know who I am and I know that I'm good. Now, for some of you, you're going like, I could never say that. Yes, you can. Once you have the systems, once you have the platform solid, and you can come forward with that confidence, like Eleni was saying, that there is nobody better, because you do have all the systems. You do have everything. They'd be crazy not to hire you. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. Confidence plays a huge role in that. And so Karen, I appreciate all the conversation that we had today, everything that you shared with us. And I think maybe Sarah's going to post where people can get a hold of you and,
Yeah,
and
great.
find out more about your coaching. So Sarah, if you can post that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everyone that was on the series today. I appreciate you guys joining. Next week on the 12th at 11 a.m. my local time. So what is that? 1 o'clock Eastern. I'm always having to do time
Yes.
zone changes in here. I'm
Yep.
going to be joined by Nicholas Feedley. He's an agent out of the Pennsylvania area, and he's going to be coming on, and we're going to be talking about some marketing tips and tricks for everyone. So I'm excited for that. So thanks so much, Karen, for today.
Thank you for
Appreciate you.
having me. Thank you so much. And the link that she's dropping is just a training that I do every day. You're welcome to watch it, or if you need anything, just email us at support@karencoffee.com.
Thank you, Karen, and Happy New
Thanks,
Year to
guys.
you.
Good luck to you in 2023.
Yes, thank you. You too. All right. Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.